What is the biggest financial mistake that you see most entrepreneurs make?
So in terms of actually what it means as a mindset, is actually just realizing that risk and reward do go hand in hand. Yeah, if you start a business and work on it, it's going to be difficult. You will have to cut your lifestyle expenses for probably 2 or 3 years, but in the end, it is worth it.
Exactly. Become an entrepreneur, work from home, then you don't have to risk getting into a car accident. If you want to be rich and wealthy and have a wonderful life, you've got to sacrifice some of the things that you want right now. So what specific tax strategies would you recommend for, people that invest their money into businesses or property to keep hold of their money? Hi, Josh. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. How you doing?
Yeah, great, mate. Welcome to the very first Carnivore Entrepreneur Show episode with a full-on interview. It's awesome to have you here, mate. And I guess the best way to start off is just for those who don't know you, could you just share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of do a couple of different things. I suppose the main business and my main area of expertise is, accounting and tax advice. That's our main business, still our great business today. So I'm a chartered tax advisor, work with lots of fantastic businesses, helping them stay on the right side of HMRC and get all the compliance work done that needs to be done. And then outside of this as well, we're a property investor, stock investor. We've got a few smaller kind of online education businesses as well.
Okay, cool. So, as you know, I've just started up the Carnivore Entrepreneur, and
I'm honoured to be the first guest.
You are the very first guest of the show, so definitely something to be proud of. But the point of the Carnivore Entrepreneur is about meat, it's about muscles, it's about mindset, and ultimately it's about money. So what I'm going to do with every single guest that I have on the show is just to tell me why you are qualified to be a carnivore entrepreneur.
Oh, if I'd have known this, I would have come on the show. I'm a vegetarian.
No vegans allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what I love about the message. It's just kind of, it resonates because it's literally kind of like alpha, meat, money. So why am I qualified? I eat a ton of meat, literally steak and eggs pretty much every day. I love making money. We make a decent amount. And that's just what I like, is this kind of, especially the way the world is going at the minute, all this kind of like left wokeism. This is just common sense, men being men, doing what they should be doing, making money to provide for themselves and their family, build a great life, and actually eating meat, looking after themselves so that you're healthy and you're physically fit, and you're not eating all this processed crap that is out there these days.
Yeah, and just a bit on the process stuff, processed stuff is, for me, is like a treat every now and again. But it's been built as like a staple diet. Like, it's the norm to go to McDonald's. It's the norm to, have a pizza, and that's what the Carnivore Entrepreneur is just about, getting back to your roots. And it's not about me discriminating against women or vegans. I'm sure there are many carnivore entrepreneur women out there as well. It's just, I'm not a woman. and I don't resonate with some of the things that women go for or go through, or even be able to advise on things that women go through. But that doesn't mean that women can't be part of the Carnivore Entrepreneur clan or tribe. It's just, I want to be able to help as many people as possible live life on their terms. So let's get into it. I'm really excited to ask you a few questions and absolutely, see what wisdom you've got to share, because I think that what I've brought you on here for is certainly to help people out in getting that healthy bank account. But, it's important that you also, and we'll go into it in a minute, that you also embody the healthy mind and healthy body part of being a carnivore entrepreneur, which is important as well. So let's start off with, what is the biggest financial mistake that you see most entrepreneurs make?
Yeah, I'd say a big one is probably not getting, especially when they first started a business, is just not getting their foundations right. not budgeting well for cash flow. Healthy bank account, cash flow, cash is king.
I've had that problem
in business and in life. And it's just a case of always making sure that you've got plenty. So the biggest kind of one that we see is where you kind of have unexpected bills. That puts you in a financial position where you've got to kind of wiggle your way out of it because you've not got those healthy reserves. You're not kind of monitoring your cash flow with a hawk's eye in terms of what's this expense, what's this income coming in, and just basically always knowing the ins and outs of your finances. Literally every single day you should be checking your bank account. What cash have we got coming in today? You should know what cash is coming in, what cash is going out, and you should literally fully master your business's cash flow and your personal cash flow as well. So you can know pretty much the pound and pence what you're going to have left at the end of this month, what's coming in next month, so that you can actually afford to, one, pay yourself from the company, take money out, and the second is to invest and start to build wealth.
Absolutely. And I have been through those problems, and financial clarity is something that you never get perfect at. There's always something to improve with financial clarity. Like, even if you're at the top of the top, I'm sure that people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, even though they've built amazing businesses, I bet there's parts of their businesses that they need to get better financial clarity with. And that's running a tight ship, essentially. And the fact that you're accountant and tax advisor, I think that advice is really, really sound. I've actually even set up a Xero account, as you know, for my own personal finances. And a lot of people forget about that. If you can't manage your own personal finances, then how can you be expected to be able to manage a business?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that. You've got to run both. You've got to run your personal finances like a business, because ultimately, when you look at your personal balance sheet, when you want to build wealth, you're building your personal balance sheet. And the only way you can build your balance sheet is to master your profit and loss. So what income have you got coming in? What are you spending and what you invest in? Because that's on paper. That's how you personally get rich.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we start with the personal. Get your personal cash flow management down to a T, and then you'll probably reflect that into your business as well.
100%.
Okay, cool. So great answer. So next question then. For someone that's earning, 6 figures a year plus, but they're still feeling like they have no money left over, where do you think they should start to fix that? Because, 6 figures is a decent amount to be earning, but there's loads of people out there. I've been in that boat where I just haven't had any money left.
Yeah.
And what do you think they should start with first?
I think the thing there is that as people, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as you start to make more money, you get lifestyle creep. Okay, yeah, we made 10, 20 grand next month. Let's spend a little bit more. You start going on nicer holidays, you kind of buy a new car, things like that, and it gradually builds up and builds up and builds up. When if you get an unexpected drop in income, that puts you in a tricky position where you can't even afford to meet the daily spend. So for somebody that is earning 6 figures, I would recommend, well, actually, if you do want to build wealth and you're serious about it, take a long, hard look at your personal position and start to cut the luxuries. Because when it comes to building wealth, it's just a case of living beyond your means. If you've got very modest lifestyle requirements, you need £20,000 a year. Well, you could retire on £500,000. That's kind of well over 20 years worth of living expenses you've got saved up. But if you do those numbers for £100,000 a year, because that's what you need to spend, well, actually becoming wealthy and becoming financially free is a lot harder because of that lifestyle creep. So that's the first thing I'd recommend, is actually just cut out the crap and realize you're on a mission here to build wealth rather than to live a nice, fun life, if that's what you want to do. And then the second would be, well, actually, how can you earn more money? Because you can't save yourself rich. You've got to actually earn the money first.
No, you can only get your expenses to zero, right?
Yeah,
whereas income is infinite.
Yeah. So you've got to do a mix of both. You've got to make sure that you aren't just spending all that you make. So you've got to first off get your expenses down to the bare minimum. If you are serious about building wealth and you're on 100k a year and you're spending most of it, well, actually, it's probably time to get a smaller house, get a much cheaper car, go get a Ford Focus, a very sensible car, and actually just live very frugally for the next couple of years, just to see, for one, what it does to your mindset, and that you can still live a great, happy life on a very modest budget. And then for two, just what it will do in terms of allowing you to have all this extra money to start to invest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the difference between being rich and being wealthy, isn't it? You can live rich, which means you have no money left at the end of the month. Whereas if you are building wealth, then you structure your lifestyle so that you've got a certain percentage of your money left to be able to invest in your long-term wealth. And almost like it's that delayed gratification, isn't it?
That's what everybody struggles with, is delayed gratification. I've got this, £100,000 put aside. I want to spend it now. I can afford to go on a nice holiday, so maybe I should do it. Whereas actually they didn't realize if they keep that there and then start adding to it in 5 or 10 years time, they'll be they'll be financially free. They could live mortgage free. They can live off the returns that they get on those investments, and then literally just work part-time because they enjoy doing it rather than having to work a job that they don't like just to pay the rent.
Yeah, it's nuts, because I've been through exactly that, in different stages of my life. But more recently, we scaled massively over COVID. And I think I spent between the end of 2020 through to the end of 2022 really enjoying the extra money that we had, right? And me and Kay, we went on loads of really expensive 5-star holidays. We started flying first class, but we didn't increase our investment portfolio. But in 2023, we not massively cut back, but cut back a bit, and that meant that we had more money left over. And between 2023 and 2024, we actually tripled our property portfolio. Our own personal property portfolio. And that's because we cut back. We didn't and actually sometimes you don't even need to cut back massively to be able to get the things. It's just pinching from different places, watching different things. Yeah, cool. No, great point. And again, I've been through that myself. So wealthy people, like you've already explained, they think about money differently. Looking at yourself, what do you think is the one mindset shift that you've made about money that transformed your business and your life?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just, I always wanted to be in control of kind of what I do, what I choose to do, who we work with. And I just basically, I don't want to be told what I've got to do, go where and when, and working for somebody else. So the only way to achieve that freedom is either to win the lottery, which statistically speaking is not going to happen, or start a business. So it's just a case of starting a business to actually get that freedom. And I think a lot of people are scared to take the risk, but you can never have the reward without taking the risk. So in terms of actually what it means as a mindset, is actually just realizing that risk and reward do go hand in hand. Yeah, if you start a business and work on it, it's going to be difficult. You will have to cut your lifestyle expenses for probably 2 or 3 years before you actually start earning good money. But in the end, it is worth it. So it's just about realizing that if you put the hard work in now, you will get the output later, but you've got to be prepared to do what others won't in order to have what others don't. So it's a case of, if you really want to get that financial freedom, you don't want to be working for somebody else, you've got to be prepared to put the work in and take the risk. And I think that fundamentally in itself is a mindset, because 98% of people are in jobs that, well, say 98 is probably a made up statistic, but a lot of people are in jobs that they don't like, would rather not be in. So actually, if they kind of transition their mindset to start their own business, to do their consulting, freelance, whatever it might be, then they would be able to achieve that financial freedom as well. Yeah,
I think you're right. It's about balancing that risk, but everything in life has a risk, right?
Yeah.
Just you going out and doing something.
Yeah, just driving to work is a massive risk.
Driving to work every day has a risk. Like, actually, I work from home, so I don't have that risk as much anymore. Right?
That's good. So, that's good risk management, that is.
yeah, exactly. Become an entrepreneur, work from home, then you don't have to risk getting into a car accident. But no, like, everything has a sacrifice. So, like, if you want to be rich and wealthy and have a wonderful life, you've got to sacrifice some of the things that you want right now. You've got to sacrifice, some of the things you want to eat and do. However, if, on the other hand, if you want to go the other way, you're sacrificing your long-term wealth. So if you choose to have the things now and spend the money now and not delay gratification, the thing that you're sacrificing is the long-term wealth. It's just which one you'd prefer.
Starting a business is hard, but actually not achieving your dreams is hard. Getting into good shape is difficult. Well, being fat is difficult. You've got to choose your hard. And it makes sense to choose the hard that works for you in the long run.
Yeah, you're sacrificing this thing that you're eating so that you're not fat, or you're sacrificing being thin and healthy for the thing that you're eating, right?
100%.
So it's just, which one do you want to sacrifice? I know which one I would choose.
But unfortunately, a lot of people go for the easiest option, the easiest hard, which is to actually just stay where they are in a state of comfortable discomfort, because they're comfortable, they don't want to do the hard work, but they're not actually happy, rather than doing what it takes to doing the harder option, which is actually going to be better for them in the long run. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm not sure who said this quote first, but is if you choose the easy life, life will be hard. But if you choose the hard life, life will be easy.
Yeah,
right. So if you choose what's hard right now, it makes your life easier in the future. But if you choose what's easy right now, like sitting down, eating comfort food, watching TV, not progressing yourself, it will make your life harder in the future. And I think that's the concept. So next question then, and you might have answered this a little bit anyways, but I want to go into a little bit of detail, is how can property entrepreneurs specifically and business owners use specific tax strategies to keep on top of their hard-earned cash? So what specific tax strategies would you recommend for, people that invest their money into businesses or property to keep hold of their money?
Yeah, I'd say that the first place it starts with is with good financial management. So you know exactly kind of what your profit is, because profit for a limited company pretty much determines the tax bill. So definitely good financial management. And then off the back of that, the tax optimization. So have you got the right business structure? Are you operating in your own name? Are you operating a limited company? Do you have a group structure? What are your long-term goals? And then you work backwards. Start with the end in mind. So if you are looking at building up, a massive empire, loads of different property companies, different strategies, different businesses, you probably need a group structure. And then off the back of that, are the taxes on a day-to-day level being optimized? So are you paying yourself the best salary? Is your wife on salary? Are your children, you invest in your children's name to build wealth for them? Are you looking at pension contributions, company cars, claiming all your work from home expenses, all your business travel, and basically making sure that your taxable profit is as low as possible? You're taking money out in the most tax efficient way. So the salaries, the dividends, direct zone accounts, charging interest on them, being paid to work from home, getting that money back out there, and basically living through the company as much as possible so that your income tax bill is as low as possible. And you can leave as much money in the company so that you can actually start to build wealth on the company balance sheets by buying property, investing in property, and actually building wealth in a company. And then at some point, either continue living off that passive income or exit the business entirely. That's probably some of the kind of quite specific ways that people should be looking at exploring to actually make sure that their business is set up properly and they're reducing their taxes and overall maximizing their wealth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And one of the things I picked out there was the car. And I don't know if you remember, but a little story that I've got was when I think I came to you one year and I said that we want to get a new car. And I was talking about the AMG version of a Mercedes that I really wanted to get. And you sort of steered me away from it because while the monthly payment was very similar to the hybrid version, just getting the hybrid version made it 92% tax claimable off the business. And it's like, I didn't sacrifice any luxury or anything inside the car. All I sacrificed was the fact that the engine was going to go a bit faster.
Yeah. Right? And how fast you need to go? You start getting speeding tickets and lose your license.
Yeah, right. It was more of an ego thing. It was an ego thing for me to get the AMG version. But all we really practically wanted was a nice, reliable car that had all the luxuries that we wanted to have. And even though they were the same money per month, pretty much, I think one was $650 and one was $700. Actually, the fact that we chose the more tax efficient one meant that we were able to save like probably about 50% of the car cost. Absolutely.
That's just a great example of sacrificing now so that actually you've got it's still a fantastic, lovely car.
Like,
exactly.
I was sacrificing a little bit of speed and noise from the engine, but it saved £300 a month or more.
Yeah,
right. And we're probably saving more on petrol. you know,
if you want to build wealth, that's the thing to do. You've got to find out actually how to make your lifestyle if you've got to sacrifice a little engine for the greater good to live tax efficiently and build wealth, that's definitely worth it. And that's what other people should be doing as well.
And that's what people think. People think it's big sacrifices. It's not big sacrifices. It's small ones. It's swapping sausages for steak. It's swapping a chicken nugget for a chicken breast, and it's not that difficult. And people think it really is. But anyway, so thank you for all of the money stuff. I want to go into a little bit about the mindset and the sort of deeper into Josh. So obviously, you're not just about money. You also focus on your personal growth. So how do you think financial success connects to health and mindset?
Yeah, I'd say it comes down to freedom. So because we've got the financial success, I don't need to be working 50 hours a week doing tax advice or doing, not necessarily like the kind of mundane, but working actually on the business. So that actually allows you free time to develop your mindset and the skills that you actually enjoy. So it's a great example. Actually, I've always wanted to learn Spanish. I did some Spanish classes at school, and we're going to Spain for quite a lot this year. And because of that financial success that we've achieved, I can now spend 5 hours a week one-on-one with a Spanish coach. So by the time I actually bugger off to Spain for a bit, I should be fluent because of that freedom and that mindset that we've had. And that in turn links to your mindset, because actually when you're learning new skills, your personal development, you feel good. So let's start going to the gym. Your brain's a muscle. And when you're flexing that muscle, you're getting it stronger by learning that new skill set, which is learning Spanish is very difficult when you're kind of a bit older. That in turn makes you feel good and increases your mindset, and you feel like you're achieving that good level of personal growth by learning that second language.
I've been through that journey of being like really heavy and overweight, and then losing it all. And it doesn't just improve your energy; it improves your whole mindset, and then that reflects in your bank account. I know you've been through a similar journey yourself, and I don't think that journey ever stops. We're always learning more and more about our body every single day, and our minds every single day.
Just in life, in terms of kind of a little bit of philosophy, it's just kind of like Socrates, you're always learning, and a lot of life is actually just the devotion to self-study and continuous improvement. And I've kind of been through those peaks where actually, I've had enough money and I've just done nothing all day, or I've just sat at the beach in Dubai. And in the end, you just start to kind of like hate yourself because you're just not doing anything. You've got to be productive. You need to be continuously self-improving to actually feel good. I kind of started to look at what the meaning of life is. Do you need all this money? Do you want this freedom? But actually, too much freedom, if you're not doing anything, is actually a bad thing. You need a good routine to feel like a productive human being and to feel good about yourself. And big part of that is just continuously learning either skills for the business to help you make more money, or if that's you're happy with where that is and you're making good money, but actually the other soft skills. Do you want to learn a second language? Do you want to learn a new sport? Do you want to learn to play an instrument that is actually kind of good and wholesome for your mind and your mindset generally?
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people that aren't entrepreneurs, it's not about getting to the, working on a beach with your laptop. The laptop lifestyle is more about just being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, how you want, whenever you want, right? And it's what you find is when you do sit on a beach like you did in Dubai for however many months you did it for, you find yourself not wanting to do that anymore because you've got things that you want to do.
That's it. You kind of want to do. You actually find yourself just wanting to do a little bit of work because you actually enjoy what you do. So now I've kind of developed a good balance where you're pretty working, 20 hours a week, doing the stuff that we enjoy, the marketing, a few sales calls, a little bit of client delivery. And actually, it's a very, very good balance because that allows me time to go to the gym, go for walks, especially when we're in Dubai, just walk along the beach, learn all these kind of other skills, and have that good balance, which is ultimately a healthy lifestyle that's full of freedom.
Cool. So let's dig a little bit deeper into your habits. So what are some of the daily habits or routines that keep you at your best?
Yeah, I'd say definitely a good routine. So, early rise is usually the best way to win the day. Try to get up at kind of 5 a.m. typically.
Oh yeah, the 5 a.m. club. It's coming out. It's coming out.
I don't want to put anyone down. But sometimes it's 4 a.m. Just so I feel like I get one up on everyone else. Start the day on a massive win. So yeah, get up nice and early. Have your coffee. Get to the gym. Just get that boxed off. First thing to do is get to the gym, and then literally just get stuck in and get straight productive. So literally, I usually 7 a.m. get the first key bit of work done. So usually I kind of have one big task that I want to get boxed off. Usually it's kind of a little bit content related, or if we've got like a big advisory piece, get that boxed off. And basically that's the kind of good, strong start to the day. And then from there onwards, it's a lot more relaxed, a lot more free. There's usually not much going on. So it's usually a nice, strong start. Win the day fast and win it quick. And then actually you've got the rest of the day to ponder, to just do that self-development and actually just see where the day takes you.
So what would you say, this is a bonus question, what would you say to people that get up late and say, I don't need to get up early because I'm a night owl and do all of my work in the evening?
I'll say you're a night owl, you're full of shit, you go home and watch Netflix in the evening. Because honestly, it's what everybody does. An hour in the morning is worth 2 in the evening. I've never woke up at 4 a.m. and thought, okay, let's put the new series of Jack Reacher on. But when I go home at 6 or 7 p.m. or whatever, okay, the last thing I want to be doing is this. I probably will be more inclined to go and watch Netflix. And that's why you've got to get up with intent. When it gets to the evening, you've used a lot of your energy. I've done it before where I've had to, wake up early and stay up late to get something done. But as a general rule of thumb, in the evening, all of your friends are awake. You're going to watch some TV. That's what most people gravitate towards. Whereas if you're waking up at 4 or 5 a.m., you're not watching TV. None of your friends are awake. No one's emailing you. So actually, you can just focus and get done what you need to get done.
You can get all the shit that you need to get done before everyone else is live and kicking. So when you do need to speak to people, you can, and you've done everything with no distractions at that point.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I find works best.
Yeah, you mentioned something there, and actually, it's my granddad told me it at a very young age, and I think it's an old farmer's tale, which is an hour in the morning is worth 2 hours in the afternoon. So, and it's not like, this is what I believe, I believe it's science. Your body actually scientifically functions better at the first part of the day.
Yeah.
When after you've slept, when you've done stuff throughout the day and you get to the evening, your body is more drained. It's got to be. Right?
It's just science is logical. If you've been driving a car for the past 12 hours, chances are the car's getting a bit tired. It's more likely to overheat. It's more likely to break down. Whereas actually, as soon as it's warmed up, just after that warm up, you go to the gym, you get yourself warmed up for the day, mentally and physically. That's when you're at your peak. You're warmed up, you're fresh, you're well rested. It's just logic. That is when you'll go to do your best work.
If you were to pick out then one belief or strategy that took your businesses and finances to the next level, what do you think that would be?
It would just be for one, just actually believing that anything's possible. It's almost a case of I have I've got this delusion, whereas if I try something hard enough, it's impossible for me to fail. If I see somebody, if Elon Musk can send rockets to the moon, I'm pretty sure I can achieve anything I want to do in my business, whether that's, make more money, get more clients, get his freedom, whatever it is, I'm pretty sure I can do it. And I know that if I work hard enough, it will happen. So it's a case of if it's not happening, I'm doing something wrong. So I acknowledge that I don't know everything. I look at myself as an idiot. So, okay, I'm wrong probably more often than I'm right. But that, again, is a good belief that will help you succeed.
Yeah. And Henry Ford says it perfectly, which is whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't. You're right.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people don't believe in themselves enough and what they can actually, for one, how much money they can make, what they're capable of, the type of amazing things that they can create. And that is, I guess, a lot of people, the system, they're kind of bullied down or put into their jobs, and they lack that self-confidence. Whereas I'm quite fortunate that my mum said at any age, you can be whatever you want to be, you can do what you want to do. So I've always had that freedom to either start businesses at a young age and everything else and just try and find ways to make money. And pretty much they've always worked. So I'm quite confident with that delusion that anything I do will work if I try hard enough. Yeah.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have to have an element of delusion, right? They have to be deluded in their thinking and believe in something that's possible that they've not done before.
100%.
9 times out of 10, someone else has done what they want to do or something similar, and you just need to follow what it is they've done.
Yeah. If anyone else has done it, just copy and paste it. If they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, it's like Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. And, you know, he became probably, in my view, one of the greatest athletes to ever live. And in one of his core quotes was, limits, like fears, are often just an illusion.
Yeah.
You know, so if, you know, fears are illusion, they're false evidence appearing real. And limits, we put them on ourselves. So if we put them on ourselves, they've got to be an illusion, right?
Yeah, 100%. You can literally do anything. And it's often just a case of breaking it down. So in terms of, don't cover this, but like how you set goals. And actually, it's always just a case of reverse engineering. So, but Michael Jordan, if he wants to become the greatest athlete, well, actually, it's just a case of training, working out, resting. Whereas in business, if you want to earn a certain amount of money, £1 million a year, break it down. What do you need? Who do you need? How are you going to do it? Because as soon as you actually break down £1 million into a year, it's pretty easy for most people to achieve this.
Yeah.
Because it just comes down to,
you sell 1,000 things at £1,000.
Yeah,
that's £1 million, right?
Yeah. And okay, so what are you going to sell for £1,000? Okay, I might do this new online course, might have this actual product or service, I might do sets of accounts. Okay, so we need to sell 1,000 of these. How am I going to do that? A little bit of paid ads, bit of social media. Who do I need? Okay, we need 7 accountants to do this, and it's literally that simple.
Yeah, and actually, a lot of people, something that seems normal and standard to you might be amazing and phenomenal to someone else, and they want to learn about it.
If you said to me 7 years ago, when I literally, about 7 years ago, I just quit my job, and a 27K a year, about 10 grand in the bank, a beat up Ford Focus because I had to sell my BMW just to cut the expenses. I didn't want a monthly payment. You said, okay, you'd be making £500,000 a year. I'd have thought, no, that's just not possible. Because to go from 27K work full time, when I looked through all my old diaries that I was writing, all the kind of goals, it's just, you know, earn £50,000 a year, because I thought that's a good salary for an accountant to be earning. I didn't know that you could 10x that until we actually kind of got on the path and thought, okay, we've hit this. What's next? Well, actually, we could do 100, and then from 100 we could do 200. And actually, you can just keep kind of doubling or tripling your revenue until, you know, if you wanted to in a business, you could earn 10 million, 100 million.
Yeah. So what did that teach you? That financial struggle that you had, you know, before, you know, years ago, obviously struggling financially, having to have a beat up Ford Focus, you know, and then, but also not believing at the time that 7 years later you would be earning, you know, $500,000 a year. What did that teach you?
Yeah, well, I guess I suppose, you know, living that kind of broken lifestyle, it isn't too bad. You know, as long as you've got a roof over your head and a car, you know what, it's pretty much the same today. Obviously, you're
grateful for, isn't there?
Yeah, it is. You kind of looking back, it just makes you realize that actually probably those might have been the best times, because when in business and building wealth, the struggle is often the best bit. And when you kind of reach financial freedom, it's like, well, what next? You kind of just settle these imaginary hurdles that don't mean as much to you as the first one. The first one was making a good amount of money so you can do what you want. You can fly business class and everything else. But then you can't really go much from there unless you start going private jet everywhere, and that just costs millions a year. So you kind of looking back and you realize that struggle, that bit, that's the best part of the story. And actually, you know, having that, you know, beat up car, going to like some client meetings and parking it around the corner because I was so embarrassed about this car that had, you know, a terrible rattling sound in the exhaust. And that was what was so good about it. And then also that actually, that it was fine to live like that because it was worth it. And what I know I got out at the end of it, that sacrifice that paid off.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, cool. So we've covered a lot. Right, so that's great. We're sort of wrapping things up now, Josh. Thank you for all of your fantastic insights, and I hope everyone's taken at least one or two things from everything that we've said so far. But as a final thought, if our listeners were to take just one action to improve their financial situation, what would that be?
I think the best action that people could take would be make a commitment to becoming rich or achieving financial freedom. So if you want it, okay, great. We want things. Don't just want it, commit to it. Write it down that this is your goal for 2025 and for the rest of your life. Yeah, literally, it's what you're like. Put it as your phone screen, as your desktop wallpaper. What financial freedom looks like to you, what wealth looks like, what your life looks like. Because, you know, it's kind of entrepreneurship. We're not just talking about money. We're talking about health, wealth, happiness, family. Manifest it, write it down, make a commitment to doing what it takes to achieve that, because that's the first step. I know you ask for one thing. That's the one thing you need to do is commit to it. Commit to achieving success in your life, And then off the back of that, then actually list out what that looks like and how do you get it.
Yeah. And I think it's a really, really good point, because I think it's a really simple action. If you were to just take the 3 things that you want to achieve, 3 things that you'd like to achieve, or 1 thing that you'd like to achieve in your body long term, 1 thing that you'd like to achieve in your mindset long term, and 1 thing that you'd like to achieve in your bank account long term, right? Like whatever it is you want to achieve in 15, 20 years time, maybe even 10. But if you were to write those 3 things down every single day, I guarantee you that you're going to start developing them. You're going to be thinking about them more, doing them more, and it's going to be manifesting in your brain. And, you know, your brain's like a sat nav. If you give it a postcode to go towards, it will start going towards that postcode. But like, if you wanted to get somewhere that you've never been before in your car, and you don't put a postcode into your sat nav, you'll never get there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I love that. Okay, cool. So just to finish off then, where can people connect with you and learn more about what you do, Josh?
Yeah, so 2 best places probably at the minute: YouTube, if you want some free information about, you know, taxes, money, wealth generally. If you actually want to reach out to us, Instagram is the best place, at Joshua Tharby.
Okay, excellent. And all of Josh's contact details will be in the description of the interview. So if you want to connect with him, feel free to just connect up via the links in the show notes.
Perfect. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Josh. Cheers, mate. And I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, speak soon. Bye for now.
If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. You are a carnivore entrepreneur. Live life how it was supposed to be lived, on your terms, with strength, energy, and purpose. I'll see you on the next episode.